From its beginnings in the 6th and 4th century BCE, Buddhism has stressed a transcendence from the world. This has traditionally been known as nirvana, or liberation from samsara, the endless cycle of rebirth. While it seems, due to this emphasis, that the tradition cannot reconcile itself with an ecological imaginary and therefore greening, it is in fact possible. In spite of the criticisms often attributed to the tradition, change and an environmental ethic can be found in Buddhism and can be beneficial to other religious and even secular communities. By reinterpreting central doctrines and beliefs with careful consideration in order to preserve the tradition from outside influence, and by encouraging the community of adherents, those who have taken monastic vows and those who have not, Buddhism can engage with and deter the global ecological crisis. In order to reach nirvana, adherents must follow a middle path, characterized by a life balance between renunciation and excess. In addition, it is necessary to follow 4 noble truths, concerned with combating ignorance, and the noble eightfold path, which promotes correct action and living. Adepts partake in mindful meditation practices by acknowledging one's place in the cosmos and adhering to moral conduct. One can achieve nirvana and transcend the cycle of rebirth.
Buddhism was the first world religion, sets a good example for international contracts between people of different backgrounds and cultural histories. It has a long and rich history of responding to human needs. There are many different cultural perceptions that influence the different modes of thinking about Buddhism. Western influence on Buddhism is widely perceived negatively. Colonel Alcott's interpretation was coined with the term Protestant Buddhism and is seen as a betrayal of the religion. Historic Buddhism did not have a reason to have an environmental ethic, but as the world progresses, there comes a need to reintroduce such green ethics that focus more on the relationship between the interrelatedness of existence. 2 dimensions must be drawn up to describe the basic pillars of Buddhism. The developmental dimension focuses on the transformational intent of the tradition, on the Buddharma as a practical means of spiritual growth and development. The relational dimension is used to understand the Buddhist concept of the interrelatedness of all things. Based off of these 2 dimensions, 2 different hierarchies can be drawn: the hierarchy of oppression and the hierarchy of compassion. The hierarchy of oppression states that as a person ascends, their value of interrelatedness and their level of privilege increases. However, the more ecological philosophy is the hierarchy of compassion, which states that as a person ascends conscientiously, their path no longer allows for a higher level of privilege over those beneath them. It is important to focus on a conceptual, ethical life and to use a practical technique to cultivate compassionate activism.
Thailand has increasingly become an environmental disaster through the acceptance of westernization. The monastic community, although it has the power to change Thailand's situation, has some aspects that discourage change. One example is the emphasis on being rather than doing. This discourages activism in the community, and monks who are environmental activists are seen as renegades and are widely unaccepted. One subject we've yet to cover at length in class is the concept of the Sangha. This refers to the community of monastics in Buddhism. Influential American poet and ecological thinker Gary Snyder has taken this term and authenticated it to refer to the ecosphere of the planet. Using the term in this way implies a sort of interspecies communion and discourages an othering between sentient beings and their environment. Through his work, Snyder proposes the idea that we are all part of a community, characterized by relationships of give and take, and emphasizes the reciprocal participation of all creatures in life and death. Echoing the idea of samsara, Snyder prompts one to consider one's own community as ultimately part of a larger cosmic whole. In theory, Buddhism has made multiple contributions to the Earth Charter. The text assumes that religions of the world have a duty to model a kind of community to combat the global ecological crisis, and points first to the Christian Golden Rule, which asserts that one should do unto others as one would have others do unto them. However, our text suggests modifying the rule into something that strongly mirrors Buddhist bodhisattva ethic. In order to establish myself, I must help others to establish themselves. In order to enlarge myself, I have to help them to enlarge themselves. So rather than attempting to fix or fixating on the harm that's already been done to the planet, we should focus on preventing further harm. In this way, the Earth Charter should strive to end suffering for all sentient beings rather than just those in harm of extinction or endangerment.